Hi everybody, thanks for joining me. This is Abba Wagensberg. As we all know, this period of time is known as Sfiras HaOmer, the counting of the Omer, as we count the days up to the holiday of Shavuos. We also know that during this period of time, we have various customs of mourning the deaths of Rebbe Akiva's students. The Gemara in Yevamos says that the reason why they all passed away was because Shelo Nahagu Kavod Ze Lo Ze. They did not demonstrate respect for each other. And because they had lack of respect, they all perished, and we mourn their deaths. The question is that sometimes we think that they had no respect for each other. Sometimes I think that our impression of Rebbe Akiva's students was that when somebody said, "Could you please pass the cornflakes?" the other person just simply ignored the one who asked the question. Sometimes I think that they were the types of people who didn't hold doors open for each other. People who didn't say thank you or didn't say please. You've got to be kidding. We're talking about Rebbe Akiva's students, such great Torah scholars, that's antithetical to everything that the Torah teaches. You know something? I'll prove to you from the very source itself that these students actually did have common decency and respect for each other. When the Talmud reports about their deaths, it introduces the story by saying that there were 12,000 pairs of students that Rebbe Akiva had who perished. Isn't that interesting? 12,000 pairs of students. Now I have to do the math. Okay, 12,000 pairs must, 24,000. Who ever heard of reporting a story and leaving the mathematics to the audience? Could you imagine on the news? Yes, 13 times 6 people perished today in the plane crash. I have to start doing the math? Just say the number, says the Ben Ish Chai. The reason why the Talmud says 12,000 pairs was because it comes to teach us that they had the paired up system. They felt paired with their buddies. They had the buddy up system. Of course, they said please and thank you. Of course, they held the door open for each other. They were Talmidei Chachamim. Of course, they had respect. So if that's the case, what was the problem? Why did they perish? I want to ask you all a question. If you ever heard some type of tragedy happen to another person, what's your reaction? I'll tell you a common reaction. You heard about somebody, Nebuch, who passed away, or someone that got sick, or somebody lost their job. The reaction is, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you okay?" And it lasts for about the amount of time we have that conversation. 5 minutes later, we're on to the next thing. We're into our lives, and maybe don't even give another thought. It depends maybe who the person is or the circumstances, but okay, we expressed our concern. We were polite. That's not what the Torah demands of us. The Torah demands of us, v'yahavta l're'acha kamocha, to love another as much as we love ourselves. You know what that means? It means we have to feel for others the same way we would have felt had that same tragedy struck ourselves. Now that's a whole different picture, isn't it? If we went through something like losing a job or losing a loved one or coming down with some type of illness, OMG, that's a major situation because now it's happening to me. The Torah's expectation of all of us is that we feel this way for each other, not just our family members that we're still speaking with, and not just for our friends in our coffee clutch. Everybody, all of us, that's the expectation of the Torah. Not just to say, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and then have a nice day. To really feel the other person's pain and what the other person is going through. And that's what I think the students of Rebbe Akiva were lacking in. Their Rebbe Akiva was famous for the statement, "V'yahavta l're'acha kamocha." Omer Rebbe Akiva, ze klal gadol b'Torah. This is the most important principle of the Torah. To love another, how much? As much as we care and love for ourselves. And this is where I think his students fell short of that expectation. I have a new read, perhaps, into the Talmud itself. When the Gemara says, "Shelo nahagu kavod ze lo ze," we typically translate that to mean they didn't have respect for each other. perhaps to suggest today an alternative interpretation to that sentence. Shelo nahagu kavod. What does kavod mean? The root of that word is kaved, which means heaviness. You know what they didn't conduct between themselves? To feel the heaviness of what the other person was going through. Of course, they said, good morning, have a nice day. Could you pass the cornflakes? Oh, absolutely. Thank you, you're welcome. But you know what they were lacking? They were lacking the kavod, the kvedus, the heaviness, to really feel what another person is going through. They fell short of Rabbi Akiva's expectation, and therefore they could not be the disseminators of the Torah, which expects that type of camaraderie, that type of friendship, that type of love, care, consideration, and concern that we are supposed to have for each other. And that's what we mourn. At this time of year, we mourn the fact that these people fell short of that expectation. And as we mourn, we're trying to remind ourselves of trying to improve ourselves in this very area. And as we count the days towards Shavuos, it is the prerequisite that we need in order to receive that Torah. In the month of Sivan, of course, that zodiac sign, Gemini, which is Te'umim, the twins, and all the pictures have them as Siamese twins. You know what's unique about Siamese twins? If you pour hot water over one of the heads, both heads scream, ouch. The other head feels the pain of what happened to his twin. And that's the mazel, that's the zodiac sign of the month of Sivan, and it's telling us this is what we need to do and improve on in order to be true recipients of the Torah. Thank you so much for joining me today. May we all be blessed to try and think to ourselves, to try to put ourselves a little bit more into other people's shoes and to feel what other people are going through. If we can be of assistance, then certainly implement. And if we cannot, to be able to cry with another person, to pray privately, secretly for other people, and to truly feel what another is going through, then we will be the receptacles worthy of receiving that Torah. Thank you once again so much for joining me. This has been Abba Wagensberg.